Good morning from sunny Buffalo. I'm Mike Shope here with ADP Chasing going into week 16. Still not done with week 15 yet. 2 games tonight. 75 scoreless yards from Saquon Barkley. 67 scoreless yards from Derrick Henry. 56 scoreless yards from Joe Mixon. And there's no game script complaint among them. All their teams won pretty easily, yet couldn't get there. Is this just how it goes? Is there something else to say about it? Maybe a lot of you, even us, are happy about it. We'll discuss it with our heroes, Pat Corain and Davis Mattek. I'm Mike Shope. This is ADP Chasing, Monday, December 16th, 2024.
ADP Chasing is for when you watch ship chasing, you go, these guys are just football guys.
And the targets per outrun leagues, that's going to be really nice.
Actually back in if it's Ashane.
Stare into our crystal ball. Close your eyes, all your entries are going to lose anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
This is a Deuce Vaughn show.
It's anti-cabal. It's anti the best ball thought leaders. I'm obviously lying to some degree because, I have a lot of both of these guys.
It's the most disgusting pick you can make. But, man.
So I'm all excited getting into week 15. Couple dozen. What I miss? Go ahead.
No, I didn't have it. Coming out of the music, a professional show would have the $3 already there. It was still just you.
You'll be back. So I had a couple dozen underdog teams, and Wednesday or so of last week, I started to look them over. I like my little spreadsheets, so I'm writing them in. And I reached out to Nick Costantino from Go Bills. Like, Nick, what's the right way to do this? Are you actually going through all your teams? Are you too cool for it? Just sort of what is the process this week? There's nothing you can actually do, of course. And he said, I wait until week 16, then it gets real. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Although I remember the week 15 sweat last year. Laporta went nuts, which was huge for me. And I still we were going around shopping, at the grocery store, and I was checking, because I was missing some of the late window games, I think, and I was like, oh man, this, we're getting touchdowns, things are good. So the sweat, I don't know, the week 15 sweat sticks with you a little bit, and then yesterday I pretty quickly shifted from sweating DFS teams, which weren't that great, to best ball teams, but not because normally if you're checking your best ball teams, it's a bad day in DFS. But I was just I'm just as kind of driven by what happens with these best ball sweats as I am with the DFS stuff. So yeah, week 16 it gets very real. That's where you're going to be pacing around in front of the Monday Night Football game. But yeah, I think week 15 is a good sweat.
Nah. I'm not. I checked just to see if I had any team that smashed, but I didn't look and be oh, I need 22.7 from this guy. It's I assumed yesterday went about as good for me as it possibly could have, because Barkley and Henry combined for 7 points less than Saquon Barkley's season average in half PPR. Ty Johnson,
they combined for Xavier Worthy, I think.
Oh, Xavier Worthy outscored them. Xavier Worthy had 19.6.
Yeah, there you go.
In half PPR, I believe. So Xavier Worthy outscored them. Chase Brown and Justice Hill were the running back 1, 2. James Conner was the running back 1. Justice Hill was running back 2. Chase Brown was running back 3. So I assume all that was good for me. And if I get a team through, that'll be great. But I probably don't have very many good teams in BBM. So I'm assuming that if I do get a final anywhere, it'll be in a side contest, which is fine.
By the way, either of you guys ever draft Ty Johnson this year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You did?
I didn't, but man, he looks good.
Yeah. I have some on DraftKings, which is 20 rounds.
Right. 3 20-plus yard catches yesterday. The Bills, you'd think, would kill for a receiver to do that. How do they score 48 points and no targets for Amari Cooper? Just incredible.
That's crazy.
Well, I was pretty married to that game. I host the post-game show, of course. I say, of course, because I think you guys know that at least. What happened with, let's go in order. Barkley, Henry, Mixon. Barkley was a late game, so I didn't see any of it. is there an easy explanation? Is it just randomness, how it goes, or is something else in play there that happened yesterday?
I think it's three different things. To me, the Henry one was that the Ravens were just like, we can score through the air, and let's like be a little bit more aggressive than we normally are. And then they were very good. And then like Bateman catches a ball, just ahead of the end zone, and he makes two defenders miss, and he gets in. That's a Derrick Henry touchdown that he stole. He connects deep to Bateman on another touchdown. He connects deep to Walker on another touchdown. He hit Andrews on a long play that I think that penalty had backed them up. So it's like, yeah, and then he threw for a fifth touch. Oh, to Justice Hill. He hit Justice Hill on that. Yeah, so they're scoring from distance, and that I think was like a risk factor for the Henry matchup, where I was like, I mean, they're not going to do this, but they could have a good day through the air if they decided to, and they kind of decided to, / the Giants decided to let them. And
on that game, Pat, it was the kind of game, I mean, what did Jackson have? 4 incompletions and 5 touchdowns, or 5 incompletions and 5 touchdowns? It's the kind of game where you're a 16-point favorite. You can probably do whatever you want. You're using that game to win him an MVP, except he really has no chance at it at this point.
Right.
This year with a lesser season.
Yeah. I think the Mixon one, the Texans just like, they were just kind of floundering, it felt like a little bit. And then the Eagles looked pretty good on offense, but I think they were trying to get their passing game going a little bit. / the Steelers seemed to be really sort of selling out for Barkley, and then Barkley missed some time. He went into the medical tent, and it felt like they were letting Gainwell get more run than usual. They were using Gainwell around the goal line. I just think they were like, let's not risk this dude in any way. If he's slightly
or maybe it's simpler than that, and Barkley is just really susceptible to matchups.
Yeah, but I mean, every running back's susceptible to matchups if you take them off the field.
Well, he also, look, his season high in receptions, he's topped 4 receptions 0 times. He has only topped 3 targets in less than half of the games. Like, this is the legendary upside thing for Barkley to have these games. Like, Barkley starts out at a projection disadvantage to Chase Brown just because of the receiving work. It's just how it goes. And if you don't get enough receptions because your team drops back 21 times a game, you have to break off 50-yard runs. So it really is just as simple as he didn't break off a 50-yard touchdown. I mean, even think about that game against the Rams. Even think about the game where he was like where he detonated all of us and everyone just gave up. Think about that.
It was a stinker for most of that game.
It was a stinker. He had like 80 yards and no touchdowns until the last 2 possessions. Like, which is not to say that should be your median expectation, but Barkley and Henry, just due to how they get their fantasy points, they are, particularly Barkley, because he's never getting the 1-yard touchdowns, they are super sensitive to the big plays.
Well, that was one question, Pat, about, I just made the Lamar Jackson point. Barkley was the second favorite to win the MVP going into Sunday, and Pittsburgh couldn't do anything. They have 10 first downs in this game, so it could have been the same kind of deal where the Eagles just did whatever they wanted. Maybe not quite so easy when it comes to Barkley, but they didn't. We've wondered, talking about Allen all the time in Buffalo, will Philadelphia just go all in on getting him the rushing record, even though, there are the playoffs and everything that loom ahead. But yesterday's game might have been some example that is not the plan.
And it probably shouldn't be the plan. Like, it'd be nice if he gets there, but like, this team could easily win the Super Bowl. They're a very good team. The defense is great. So, Barkley is very important to their actual success, So, but they do get the Commanders and Cowboys next. So if we're saying, oh, he's just a matchup guy, he just feasts on bad matchups. Well, he's getting served up pretty nice matchups to close the best ball playoffs here. So, this to me was, as someone who didn't draft Barkley, kind of sitting outside of everyone watching all the Barkley people party.
I would have advanced some more teams to take advantage of these
I know,
right? Now he's the guy you need.
And now, no, that's so funny. He went from you're not that stoked to have him on your team to now if you get Barkley through this week.
Barkley through, holy shit, yeah.
I'm winning all the money. He'd be the number one guy you want to have. I think
I think so. I think the number one guy that you want to advance now is Barkley because
yes, 100%.
Now it is tough because you're gonna go like against other good Barkley team. Like if he goes nuts in week 17, it'll be the like very good Barkley teams that got through.
It'll be like Josh Allen.
Right, it'll be Josh Allen.
Connor Chase Brown.
If you have a non-Josh Allen Barkley team, that would be pretty sweet. Not that Josh Allen's awesome and will score a lot of points in week 17, obviously, most likely. But that's where you go. That's the potential leverage if you had somehow got Barkley through without Allen yesterday.
Well, of course, there's the MVP element there too, although it's already almost his. But now with 3 weeks to go, the AFC
to lose.
Yeah, right. He probably has it. They're a 14-point favorite at home against New England, and then it's the Jets here. And you have to really think about like team incentives. Davis, your Chiefs. So Mahomes gets hurt, which we'll talk about. They open as an underdog at home against Houston. I don't know. So Houston clinched its division yesterday, and now they're going on a short week to Kansas City. They might play them again in a month. Do they want to show their best stuff? I feel like this is a game. Houston has really nothing to gain anymore.
They might score some points now. If you get Chiefs weapons through to this week, you might be like, wow, they're going to score some points with Carson
Mahomes won't play. I guess there's that too.
If you get like Kelsey and Worthy through to week 16, you might be in a good spot right now.
You think he plays no matter what, though?
No. I think the team should not let him play because they have bigger aspirations. I think him playing. I mean, I'm sure he wants to play. He was trying to get back in the game yesterday, which is idiotic. But it did not look good. I thought for a second it was really bad. But yeah, it's the same injury he had when they won the Super Bowl in 2022.
But it's like here was Kansas City's schedule. Houston at Pittsburgh at Denver. Okay, this is going to be high stakes stuff, race for the 1 seed, whatever. All these games could end up being meaningless for the other teams. Houston's, I think it pretty much is already that. If Pittsburgh wins in Baltimore, they're an underdog. But if they do, they clinch that division this week. And what's the difference? 2 versus 3. Then it's at Denver in week 18 for the Chiefs, and they're kind of already in too. There's really almost no drama on the AFC side, which kind of ties in as we were reflecting on the best ball stuff, but also leaning into the playoff best ball. And a team like the Broncos is not that there's that much to find interesting, but they're kind of in already. And I think with the Colts losing and the Dolphins losing, we pretty much know the field.
Yeah. I think the Broncos game matters regardless, because if the Bengals went out, I think
that'd be fun.
They play Denver.
Yeah, I believe that is the math. So if the Bengals win in week 17, then the Broncos have to win. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I hope these games are useless, because the best thing that could happen for Kansas City would be if Kelsey got to take 2 weeks off. Not even just 1 week, just 2 weeks. If he got to, maybe he starts week 17, but then takes it easy at half, and then doesn't play at all in week 18, that would be the best thing. He needs to go to Germany. He needs he needs the PRP in his knees. He needs some, I don't know, good drugs. Good drugs.
Didn't do Germany on the world tour. That wasn't.
He's on the tour. That's my question too. He's got to be eventually.
Oh man, David Montgomery out indefinitely after suffering an MCL injury in a loss to the Bills. You know who you're going to need in Best Ball Mania 5.
Oh my God.
A little guy by the name of Sion Baki.
It's happening.
Montgomery did go out yesterday. I don't remember him being ruled out, but it was 5 carries, 4 yards, 4 catches. Was he in the game at the end? I'm checking the snap counts.
No.
30%.
It was all Gibbs.
No. Well, I mean, Gibbs. Is Gibbs the 101 in your drafts now, or Allen?
I think Allen.
So I did some playoff best ball drafts this morning. Grain, I don't know if you have time this afternoon or tomorrow to hop on. I think there's a convincing argument now to take your favorite quarterback at 2 as well, because I did a couple drafts where I took Barkley at 2, and I was not able to get Hurts or Mahomes or Lamar at the second to last pick of the second round.
Yeah.
No, not it was not even Mahomes. So it was either Goff, so you have to reconfigure what you're doing and you have 2 NFC teams,
right,
or you don't get a quarterback at all if the St. Brown drafter or the Gibbs drafter takes him. And now that Montgomery never goes, so now that Montgomery will never go ahead because he's injured, then now I think you're extra incentivized. And Josh is pointing us out in the chat. Part of it is reacting to what the drafter at the 1 hole does. Because if the drafter at the 1 hole takes Barkley, then it makes it more likely you'll have a quarterback coming around. But when Allen goes 1, then you are extra incentivized,
right,
to take a quarterback.
What are your thoughts on the Eagles and the Lions as like teams? Like, which of these teams is more likely to go to the Super Bowl? Because
Detroit is falling apart. I mean, their defense, they were down their entire first and second string defensive lines the last 2 weeks. They lost McNeil for the season to an ACL yesterday, who they just paid a $97 million contract to. They lost Carlton Davis to a broken jaw for probably the rest of the regular season. Montgomery, MCL Davis sounds like regular season, and then he's back. To me, I mean, the bye would help that too, but I would think 3-4 weeks.
Not if they do the MRI and he tore it.
Alton definitely sounds bad to me. That's like week to week is what I would want to hear for playoff best ball.
I think it's the same thing. To me, it's the same thing. Like, out for the season is easy if they know he's torn and like that's it. There's no reason to play games. I mean, they could, I suppose, but to me, we don't know.
So my dad used to, he would tell me that I was not having candy indefinitely. Indefinitely was that really set me off as well. As a little 4-year-old, really couldn't handle the uncertainty in that word. But I think indefinitely is a stand-in word for I'll figure it out later. How long? I think it's, given that it's Monday, indefinitely to me means you're doing more testing. You don't know what the timeline is yet, but it's not going to be quick.
I'm reading the tweet now, and that's what it says. Could be lost for the season is a little bit more dire than it sounded at first to me. So,
well, now would you rather have Gibbs or Barkley? Would you rather have advanced Gibbs or Barkley? That's kind of where I'm driving. I think Gibbs now for sure, because the defense is cheeks now. So every game they're like, dude, we got to score 40.
But you want the guy to go to the Super Bowl, right? So
no, I'm saying in best ball. I'm saying if you could advance a guy in BBM now, I think
you want Gibbs just for he's gonna be way. Yeah, Gibbs didn't have the advance rate that Barkley did, so he was leveraged to begin with.
At Chicago, at San Francisco.
Oh, dude, Gibbs is getting 37 points at San Francisco. Maybe more. Maybe more.
How about that game? I mean, St. Brown in that game. Really, the Bills do it again without really much receiving prowess. I mentioned Ty Johnson. What else even happened in their passing game yesterday? Just it's all Allen, and then Cook gets in twice.
Jameson Williams got carted off at one point and then returned and scored a touchdown. I thought when I read the tweet that he got carted off, I was like, oh, well, it's done. And then he was back in the game. You guys will enjoy this. Me being a homer cost me $5,000 in BR yesterday. I drafted a Goff, Evans, St. Brown, Connor, Chase Brown team. Nuts. Could have had Laporta at tight end. Had Travis Kelce on it.
Oh, no.
4.7 points. Lovely.
Man.
Do you think this is by design for the Bills, Mike, where they quote unquote don't have a wide receiver 1, or do you think that they would prefer to have a wide receiver 1, but the Cooper trade just hasn't worked out?
No, I wouldn't say that the trade hasn't worked out because, at the Rams, he had 14 targets and they scored 44 points in that game. So Allen, I think, is right now on such a level that they're just sort of doing whatever they want to do. And yesterday I read from Bill Barnwell this morning, he completed more passes to running backs and tight ends than any quarterback has in the league this year, and that he ever had. So it is Ty Johnson or Cook or Kincaid, who could have had a day and a touchdown called back late. That was really dubious, but it happens. Knox too, Davis, like that's kind of where it's at for them. And they're getting what they need from Shakir, and here it's Cooper, there it's Mac Hollins. I don't know, like they're not turning the ball over ever. Even in their loss to the Rams, they didn't. And they're playing so clean that it's kind of just coming easy. So I don't think they're pivoting at all, really. This was sort of the whole idea. This is the whole thesis of trading Stephon Diggs, is that Allen will be up here and we'll have enough and we'll scheme it and make it work. And I mean, they are the Super Bowl favorite, so there's something to be said for it.
Is there something to be said for, surely Dalton Kincaid had to have smashed yesterday. They scored 42 points, right? Surely.
48.
Surely Dalton Kincaid.
I saw a good. He's not 100%. He did have a touchdown called back. Okay.
I was going to say, I saw a good. Someone posted this in Discord that they turned on a Liam stream this morning, and they said that the Kincaid touchdown was called back by the refs so that the game kept entertaining, that they couldn't, the Rams couldn't, the Bills couldn't go up by that much, and that it was a clean play, and that was the league stepping in to keep the game close.
It was a clean play, but it was already pretty late, so I wouldn't worry about it. 3 minutes left. I think if the league wanted anything, is to get the game over with to get you to their NBC product. In the last 2 weeks, Bills games have bled like 3 hours and 10 minutes or something. You don't get to watch Jason Garrett. So I feel if the league, I don't think it did, if the league had anything to say about that, like, let's just wrap this up.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the tricky thing with the Bills for DFS stuff and playoff best ball stuff is, like, it'll be interesting for the playoff best ball. Like, okay, you take Cook with him. Cook is like locked in to, I don't know, he's going to score multiple touchdowns in the playoffs. It's like you're taking Shakir. Shakir is like a bad fit for half PPR. I know he scored the cool touchdown against the Rams. Cooper's like a 4th round pick and is like literally just as liable to go 0 points as Mac Hollins. Like you can, if you wanted, you can take a Bills player in every round. You could draft a team with 10 Bills players and they could win the Super Bowl, and you still might not win. Like, you still might not win the gauntlet if even assuming Josh Allen smashes every game of the playoffs, because he doesn't bring the weapons along with them.
To me, this is an argument in some ways for taking Hurts once Allen is gone, right? So you go to, like, this would be the argument for Hurts 102, is that you get Hurts, you're not going to get Barkley, but you might get AJ Brown, you might get Devontae Smith, and then you just take a bunch of Bills. And there's so many Bills that you and the Josh Allen guy are both going to get plenty of the Bills.
I was going to say you're both going to get 5 Bills if you want.
Yeah. So, and then, the Eagles have a pretty thin. You won't get the top Bills. The Bills guy will get James Cook probably, although Cook works pretty well on an Eagles build. But let's say you don't get Cook, let's say you don't get Shakir, but like you get AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Like, great, now you're both just tacking on ancillary Bills. He's moving over to get some NFC stuff while you take Dalton Kincaid or whatever, Keon Coleman. So I think the Bills-Eagles stuff is, it'll be...
Oh, torn
if that's
MCL.
Super Bowl, a lot of teams will get there. Torn MCL?
Update.
Torn MCL. Rap sheet. Torn MCL. So he's done.
Done?
He will not be back. The larger question is, like, so now Montgomery's out. The entire defense is out. Do the Eagles just get the 1 seed? Or the Vikings get the 1? I mean, the Vikings, if the Vikings win out and they play week 7, or they play week 18, so basically if the Vikings win out, they control their own destiny. Are the Vikings, who, Corain, you and I have been drafting as our backdoor safety team, are they? I'm going to have teams with 5 Vikings and 5 Chiefs that have 0 players in week 1.
It could happen. Minnesota is what? Seattle, Green Bay, Detroit. Not easy, but could happen.
Well, Seattle with Geno. They said his knee is structurally intact. But anytime we have to start drawing the distinction of structurally intact for a 34-year-old quarterback, 33-year-old quarterback, I don't know if that makes me feel great about them.
Not Jermaine, but I wanted Sam Howell to look better. Like, wasn't the thing on
I
Sam
think we
Howell,
all wanted him to look better than that.
He's
I can't
terrible.
believe it. He's going to throw the ball though, right? And he just didn't.
He is. And this is just like one of those things that's so obvious. Like in the stats, like it's just like if you look at the first read stuff, like he cannot get off his first read, and then all the tape dudes are like, this guy cannot get off his first read. Like it's just like screaming. But you watch him, and there's that beat where like you watch every other quarterback like get off you watch them move their head. Like it's the timing, the rhythm of it from watching football, and he just like takes that beat and then just sits back down and he's like, maybe it'll come open. And it's like, no, dude. And then he gets sacked like half a second later. He's a tough watch, man.
It's the Rams now. I mean, they're both 8-6. San Francisco went for the check. Arizona, I don't know. You can't trust that. Rams at the Jets, and then the Cardinals. They're pretty close. And is that a team you guys have been drafting at all?
I haven't been drafting the Cardinals.
I take the Buccaneers.
I take the Buccaneers. I was taking the Seahawks for a minute, but yeah, that's over.
But the Rams, I mean, you got guys if you want them. Like,
I feel better about the Buccaneers winning multiple playoff games, honestly.
The other thing about the Bucs is their defense is bad. So if they win, it'll be in a high-scoring game.
You're going to
get a high-scoring loss, probably. Yeah, but that would be real good.
They outgained the Chargers yesterday by 300 yards. 30 unanswered points. They were down 17-10 and won 40-17. How about McMillan for this premise?
Oh my God, dude. Ship chasing Kurt. I drafted Jalen McMillan in the big board. I took 80% of him. I just took him every time. I'm gonna advance like 30 big board teams to the semifinals.
Hell yeah.
Well, because Chase Brown was the running back, like Chase Brown, Jalen McMillan is kind of all you needed in that contest. No, the Buccaneers are real. I don't know anything about their offensive line. Maybe their offensive line's really bad, but Ben Baldwin made this point the other day that I think I've never heard it articulated so well. But basically, like really stout defensive teams generally, like it's nice when they go on a run. But good offense, like a really good offense is just always going to beat good defense. I can't really think of many times in my life where that has not been true in recent memory. So if your defense sucks, whatever. Like if your defense sucks, that's fine. Just plan on scoring 35 points. Who are the defense that you're afraid of in the NFC? Not the Lions. I guess the Vikings.
Eagles.
The
Eagles. The Eagles have a really good team.
The exciting whites. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see Mike Evans against Darius Slay.
Well, my thinking on Minnesota is once you play them or the more experience you have, I don't think you're too worried defensively. The schemes seem to throw the younger quarterbacks, the less good quarterbacks off, and it's a disaster.
Right.
But I don't know. Like
they're doing scheme stuff that might, and that's the Flores reputation is kind of like they're better in the beginning of the year, and although they've maintained pretty good defense all year. So, well, their opponents too. You can look at their schedule and sort of make excuses for that. I like the Bears tonight plus the 7 because there was a close game the first time, and I don't know. Plus, I need whatever. Because you need Caleb.
Doomsday is really it. I just need
Doomsday.
Yeah. A lot on the line tonight.
Man, I like the Vikings because if Justin Jefferson goes nuts, I'll get a BBM team through.
I like the Vikings because what they've done all year is they've dispatched these teams without identity. Like if you look at the games where the Vikings have just crushed teams, it's been these kind of like middling teams who don't really know what they are. Like just absolutely murdered the Colts, killed the Titans. I guess it was an overtime win between these two teams back in November. But I hope you're right because I would assume that a huge DJ Moore game is good for me. Again, I'm not looking because It's also too many teams to go through. It's just like when you, not saying I advanced a lot of teams relative to the field because I didn't, but if you draft 1,200 teams, it's just going to be a lot of manual calculation, and I'm not trying to do that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope DJ Moore gets 37 points tonight, and Justin Jefferson beats that. That would be great. But a good point that someone made is the Bears are now without their head coach and their offensive coordinator, which means that everyone on the coaching staff is 2 rungs up from what they were doing a month ago, which means it's just hard to get prepared for a game.
Well, it's also tough because you bring in Thomas Brown, and he makes some real improvements on the offense, right? The offense immediately looks better. I was kind of skeptical of Brown because he was Bryce Young's OC last year. I'm like, that didn't go great. So
take me through the logic on that, please.
But he did make improvements. It was very clear the offense was better and getting the ball out quicker and doing some good stuff, more screens, just like logical stuff. But then I think they go, well, we have to see what we have here in Brown is Brown head coach material. Let's make him interim head coach. But I think makes some sense. But you're not going to make Thomas Brown head coach. You're good. You just took Caleb Williams, #1 overall. You're going to be trying extremely hard to bring in the next bright offensive mind, the Ben Johnson, whoever else. You're going to be looking at the college ranks. You're going to be trying to find someone that you can attach to Caleb and have them be paired for a decade or more. And that's probably not Thomas Brown. I think in what they've really probably done most likely is they just put more on Brown's plate than they needed to. He wasn't even OC, and now he's going to be head coach. That's a lot. So I don't know. I think it's one of those things that makes sense, but then as it plays out, it's probably not going to go super great.
What about Bieniemy, Davis? Where does he end up?
Buddy, I hope that the Hunt family and Brett Veach have been staking outside of his. I wonder, can they hire him before the playoffs? Can they bring him in?
Why not?
As a quality control? Because it's such an under discussed thing with how shitty Kansas City is now. Their shittiness started when Bieniemy left. I mean, part of it is the offensive line and the wide receivers and everything. But do you know who they hired? How often do people consciously think that Matt Nagy is the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs? Feels like a big deal.
Washington might have his rights, but
feeling like a bigger deal by the day.
Feeling like a bigger deal by the day. Yeah.
Honestly, watching Howell last night, we might owe Bieniemy an apology. That they were productive last year. They were up and down, but they were scrappy. Yeah.
I love the reporting on Bieniemy leaving college because there's all right, he's been relieved of his duties, and then his agent was right there with, we didn't want to stay anyway. We weren't planning on being back, so it's cool. Joe Brady.
Yeah.
He's a head coach in 2 years, no? He's going to ride the Allen.
I don't know.
I would be very, very nervous about hiring Joe Brady.
Yeah, he's already failed once.
Under
the only place
Matt
I would
Rule?
hire Joe Brady, I think, is Cincinnati, because I'm just I know you, because essentially I'm maybe hiring Joe Burrow to be my head coach through this guy. I know you have a connection with Joe, but I mean, he's been successful with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson.
Brilliant.
Congrats. You must be a genius. And then he's been good with Josh Allen, although it's pretty clear he's been holding Josh Allen back.
I don't know. I have to say, I was not excited about him, Brady. I wasn't here for everybody eats. I don't want everybody to eat or everybody to snack or nibble. I want a guy. I want what Diggs was for this team. I want that.
Sure.
And look at what's happening though. He just, the injuries, whatever. The Rams couldn't do anything either. And then they went and San Francisco scored 6 points. I know it rained, but it's pretty good. I mean, throwing the ball to Ty Johnson like this and figuring out ways.
That is good.
Not one target for Cooper. Kincaid out for a month, not 100%. Coleman out for a month. I don't know. It can't all be just having Josh Allen A lot of it is.
I think a lot of it is just having Josh Allen. But you're right. I mean, they've looked better and more creative, and they're doing cool stuff with the running backs, and they don't have great weapons. So I'm probably being too hard on Brady. But
and the argument isn't whether like he deserves it. The argument is whether the Chicago Bears would be attracted to a guy in his late 30s that's just championed, these great offenses, the thing they've never had in a century. Like, it's only a matter of whether a team will, if you don't believe in them, fall for it, which they could.
I mean, I completely agree with that. And Brady would be a decent enough hire, I guess. I mean,
he would sound good.
Yeah, he was like, the reason I'm a little biased against Brady is because like he just like came in and was like, we got to run. We can't be having Josh Allen throw the ball like this.
Yeah, we got to run the ball.
We got to run the ball. Like no, have him throw and now he's throwing the ball again, and it's like, oh, look at that. We're putting.
I'll tell you why I'm anti-Brady. It's still the trick play against the Ravens. The trick play against the Ravens to me is like that is such a pox on being a rational decision maker that I'm just like, dude, you don't know ball. You have all the momentum. You're just slicing down the field. Josh Allen is going nuclear. The Ravens just punted for the first time. They're all quaking in their boots. This is going to be another classic Lamar choke job. And you call a freaking I don't even remember what it was. It was Cook pitching it over to Josh Allen, and Josh Allen.
Then Allen got blown up.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the fake punt in the playoffs, not the Ravens example, but I guess you got two now.
The fake punt,
right?
Yeah, the fake punt, I think.
Okay.
I think the Make-A-Wish was McDermott.
Yeah.
How about Cook? Only Jalen Hurts has more rushing touchdowns this season with Allen happening the way he has. And his rushing, of course, is it 5 rushing touchdowns in the last 2 games? Double digits again, comes so easily. But there's Cook with 13. That was not supposed to happen.
I don't even think the Bills want it to happen. They keep giving it to everyone but him. It's crazy.
Still 13 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, James Cook, 13, Hurts 14.
Wow.
I know.
And it's weird. He's doesn't feel like that good of a pick.
He feels like a disaster almost. Like
he just doesn't get the ball enough. It's like every time you turn the game over, it's like, all right, Ty Johnson just scampered for 11 yards. Oh, Ray Davis is in there.
Well, if he goes for 16,
Ty Johnson made some
16 touchdowns. Yeah, Johnson with the big catches. If Cook goes for 16 touchdowns on a Super Bowl winner, or even if they fall short, where does he go next year? Second round?
Not to me, but probably. People are going to be so hungry for running back. Well, maybe they won't. Actually, maybe this playoff is going to people are going to be over running backs again. If Barkley and Henry just kind of do okay, maybe it'll be and that we have to draft wide receivers even harder. Even harder. The problem was we didn't draft enough wide receivers. We need 11. We need 11.
The RB bros are they're just taking their phones and just smashing them right now.
I mean, the people who were so smug all year about you guys didn't realize the generational opportunity that was Barkley in the 3rd round. That yesterday was the worst day of their year. It was the worst day of their year watching Barkley.
On Twitter, it's confirmed. You can find it.
The thing though,
Cuts a little close to home, actually.
Oh, no.
Ashton Jeanty is gonna legitimately, I think, has a chance to be the 103. If he goes to the Cowboys, Dak is healthy. They sign a competent wide receiver 2 or draft a competent wide receiver 2.
Dude, aren't you worried about Rico? 3 straight 100-yard games. I mean, the guy's running pretty good.
I mean, the thing about Rico is he's a 27-year-old UDFA.
Yeah, you're not worried. You're not worried about Rico, to be clear.
I'm not worried about Rico. Zeke is still going to be on the team, obviously. So,
oh no, Zeke just goal line backing Jeanty.
that would be the funniest scenario. Is Ezekiel Elliott scores 8 touchdowns in the backfield with Ashton Jeanty, with the Cowboys drafted 8th overall.
Ezekiel Elliott just becomes Mike Tolbert, both in physical appearance and role.
You have a specific thought on Henry for this? I mean, he's been over 82 yards twice since October. This was the thinking, right? I mean, It always is with these guys, but they'll wear out. I mean, Henry was not that special for Tennessee in a lot of areas last couple of years, and you're watching them. I know, Pat, you went into detail on that game. Does he look slower? Is he wearing out?
I don't. He wasn't even out there. They were. I think they were making a point to hit him like as soon as humanly possible, because that's the thing with Henry is like once he gets going, you're screwed. But no, I mean in terms of like rush yards over expected, he's at 439, which I believe is the second highest mark of all time.
Okay.
Behind only Saquon Barkley this year. So I would not be doubting Henry like if they're in a situation where they can feed him or do feed him, I think we're all kind of quaking in our boots here as if you don't have him. So
but this was the spot to get fed.
This was the spot, but it's not like, look, Henry didn't get 25 carries and didn't deliver.
He
had 14.
They threw all over this team and very successfully. They had screen passes to Hill. Like it wasn't built around Henry in a surprising way. Like that's a red flag to some extent that they don't need to build it around Henry. But
it's why they didn't need to sign him yesterday. Like they just didn't, for all the credit they get for.
I maintain
they're rolling what Jackson is. I mean, they just didn't trust Jackson enough.
I maintain they'd be a better team with Tony Pollard, but I think that's an unpopular opinion.
No, I still do. I agree. Whether it's Pollard or a dozen other guys, I agree.
So I don't know that. Well, I guess you get Justice Hill involved in the receiving game. I was going to say Lamar doesn't tend to involve the backs that much, so it doesn't matter. But
who
no,
runs
I think
a better
you
wheel
want
route than Tony Pollard.
Yeah, but you want that sledgehammer.
Cook.
You want that ultimate sledgehammer that Henry is.
Well, maybe they'll
Rasheen Ali. Rasheen Ali could have been. Rasheen Ali's 220 pounds.
Where is Keaton Mitchell? Where is Keaton Mitchell? Come on, let's go.
He's a scratch for Rasheen Ali.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Henry's having the most. No one in the past, at least going back to 2018 when we have these numbers, has had a better, more efficient rushing campaign than Henry. It's only a guy also doing it this year. I still think he's better than Rasheen Ali.
That's on you, Patrick. That's on you.
Maybe he's better. But so what if he is?
He's better than Rasheen Ali.
This just quickly, this whole week to week, all year, we're always talking about the veteran running backs and what's been happening. McCaffrey still was part of that too, though. Injured. We didn't know it. We didn't know it was as bad as it was, but injured going into the season. Nick Chubb, of course, injured going into the season. Didn't happen at all, just like with McCaffrey. Broken foot now, unfortunately. He's out. Jonathan Brooks, injured going into the season. Maybe we get there. Whatever happened there, where he goes back in and tears the same ACL.
God.
I mean, Mitchell, I drafted a lot of Mitchell thinking like we'd get to the middle of the season and Henry's old and he's good and they're good. So that should hit. He's not even dressing.
Is that better or worse than drafting round 18 Rasheen Ali? Honestly,
I mean, better. Definitely better. Definitely not going
only
better.
One of them was active yesterday.
Yeah. I know. Well, hopefully he didn't need those 7 points or 2 points or whatever it was. But maybe one of the takeaways this year is to pay more respect to who's actually hurt. Age is one thing, but Barkley, Henry, these guys didn't go in with injuries. Jacobs, Mixon, etc.
The injury optimists, do they ever win?
Brees Hall last year was
a
massive hit.
But he was healthy though. So key discrepancy there.
Yes.
He was practicing.
Well,
it wasn't. Oh, he had a setback. It wasn't.
Right.
It was he. I believe.
No.
Crane. He wasn't even on the pup. He wasn't even on the pup.
Yeah.
No, but they were pretty coy, if I remember right, about him during camp. They drafted Abanikanda. Like
they signed Dalvin Cook. That's when everyone freaked out.
Everyone
Michael
freaked
Carter,
out when they signed Dalvin
Cook.
Yeah, he's not even a starter now. All that crap.
I gotta say, the Hawkinson's a win for the injury optimists.
Yeah, Hawkinson's
so far,
a big win because he was a multi-ligament tear as well.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, who showed?
So far, like that's the thing.
No, I think if he gets hurt again, it's not. He successfully made it back from his multi-ligament knee tear. I think you have to say.
So did Chubb.
Chubb did not look the same though. So I would say
agree.
He's not a win. My thing is, and this probably was not with Brooks. I didn't do this well. I thought I was getting a discount on Brooks, but I think the big thing is what kind of discount are you getting for the injury? And to me, last year I was like, Breece Hall, I think this dude should be like a middle of first round pick if he's completely healthy. And we're getting him in the 4th round. So like I'm getting my discount. With Brooks, I was like, oh, this dude would be probably like a 5th or 6th round pick if healthy, and we're getting him like the 9th. But maybe that part was overconfident, and then also, you're still in parts of the draft where you're getting like running back pricing had fallen. So I think I misplayed the Brooks one. I misplayed the Brooks one in 2 different ways because I didn't take him off Chuba. But to me, it's like, what kind of discount are you getting? Hawkinson, you got a decent discount. Chubb, you didn't get a discount at first. He was a horrendous pick when drafts open. Eventually fell. I started taking him around the 150s because I was like, at this point, maybe I get a little thing at the end. But McCaffrey's the one we never got a discount on. And I think that was a leak for me too, of like not, luckily in some of the high stakes stuff, our co-managers didn't want to draft him and we got off him there. But in my stuff, I just sat there at 101 in best ball and took him. And we didn't get any kind of even a pick discount for a guy who's hurt. That would have been a little more prudent.
Well, I think was my number on Derrick Henry 83 yards over some stretch of weeks. This player has not gone. He's also gone over 83 yards twice all season, and that is Tyreek Hill.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Dolphins are just dust, man. Tua, his interception yesterday is such evidence that the whole offense is like Mike McDaniel point and click. Like, I saw this great clip where the film watcher highlighted the area where the throw went and showed what Tua's supposed to read, and then showed the linebacker knowing what or the safety knowing what he's going to read and just stepping into this, like basically tricking Tua into thinking the space is open and then stepping into it. And I mean, if Tyreek is not scoring 80-yard touchdowns, and like, what are you going to, I mean, he did have 14 targets last week.
Good week last week.
But the Dolphins, like even A-Chain is not efficient, and now I believe they're eliminated. I believe the Dolphins are eliminated now.
Ooh.
McDaniel's gotta keep the job though. I don't think.
Yes, true.
Yeah, it probably doesn't matter for us. I've been listening to, because my experience with Drake May, I'm like, this guy is so good. I'm very, very pleased with how kind of like the process to get on this quarterback, right? But then even more held back by the situation than I was hoping. So I've started listening to Bill Simmons again, just because like I know that.
Oh yes.
I'm like, who in the world is as tilted by Gerard Mayo and Alex Van Pelt as me? And so Simmons yesterday compared Tua. He said it's like you're having, if you hire like Simmons, rich LA guy, if you hire a personal chef and they make great pizza, but by the 3rd or 4th day, you're like, hey, could you like make just like kind of a normal, like, could you like braise some beef or something? No, I made pizza again.
That's what I do.
Dude, no one's better than Simmons. He's the GOAT. He's like, I'll never say a bad word about Bill Simmons.
But Miami is not dead. In fact, if they win their next 2 games and the Chargers lose both of theirs, they'd be in a spot going into week 18. So they still have life, which I guess is good. I don't know though, in terms of Tyreek, like he'll be 31 in March. He's not big. Isn't that the profile we sort of lean against?
Come back to he's going to fit in Kansas City now. Slow, injured, coming off a terrible season. Great Chief. Great fit, Chiefs. Great fit. That is right in their wheelhouse.
60% route participation. Barely missed. Oh, just overthrew him. Oh.
It's funny. The Dolphins extended him though. Like they doubled their bet.
You can get out of every NFL contract.
Yeah,
they just did it. But yes, I mean you're right. They just did it.
You have to. I mean, if you have Tua, like you have to have elite weapons around him. Like he's the thing about Tua that's crazy is like by the number, he's the new Jimmy, man. He's the new Jimmy G. His his success rate entering that game was the highest in the league, and an EPA per game is second to Josh Allen heading into this Sunday. So like, I mean, it is largely it's working. Like, it's not pretty at all. It's all shallow stuff. It's all like, I mean, part of it is that they're blending the run game into the passing game because you're getting so much of the A-chance stuff and like the short passing. It's like, but I mean, as a means of moving the ball downfield, it is a fairly effective thing they have going on. It's just like ugly and boring and slow.
Miami? We're still on Miami?
Yeah, still in Miami, yeah.
Dude, watching A-Chain like Mike Tolbert his way to 20 points a week is like so painful.
It's painful, man.
It's like A-Chain needs to lose 8 pounds in the offseason, and they need to get Jalen Wright up to speed in the Mostert role, because A-Chain, I'm ready to admit that the haters were right about one thing, which is that casting A-Chain in a 80% snap share, 21 touch role is not the best use of his skill set. Like, he can do it, but it's not the best way to utilize his God-given abilities.
How do you like 29 completions for Tua in this game yesterday, and Hill and Waddle add up to 2 catches? Waddle 0 on 2 targets.
It's all Jonnu, dude.
It's Jonnu, Malik Washington. Just, man.
I think
Speaking of
we have to worry
the
about
big board, Malik Washington, baby.
I know.
Yeah. I have him in one of these. I need.
Go ahead, sir.
That's it. I was going to say, one of these teams I think I'm getting through has him on it. It's okay.
Classic.
I think that the Dolphins, we might have to worry about Gene T. They're sitting in 11th right now.
Oh,
that's very NFL. It's very NFL.
A-Chain Gene T could be like, they should just run the single wing. They should, or the wing T. And then bring Snoop Huntley back, and you're running the wing T.
If you're McDaniel, you have to show some kind of improvement next year. Like, the offense has to feel better. And so I think they'll be tempted by something that would just, we'd all hate it. I'm not rooting for it. But
yeah, that's probably the most annoying spot.
I think they could do it. Dallas has to trade up ahead of Miami to get Gene T.
Yeah. Can we talk about Chase Brown?
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
Chase Brown he's averaging more half-point PPR points per game than Barkley since Moss went on IR. Like, are we like? I said this the other day on Twitter, and people were mocking it. I mean, he is going to be a legendary 0 running back pick. Like,
yeah. And he was Sean Siegel's favorite running back this offseason. So there you go.
I mean, I'm not going to let Sean lay claim to Chase Brown. No shot am I giving this one.
Well, you got to give him credit. I'm not saying he's Sean's guy, not your guy. I'm just saying the 0 running back guy was on Chase Brown. So
I mean, his role has actually, I don't know how this is possible. His role has actually gotten larger because they've stopped playing Drew Sample as the 3rd down back, and they're just like, Chase, you just go do it.
28 touches.
He came off the field for 3 snaps yesterday in a game they won 37-21. He came off the field for 3 snaps. He has got 25. He's got 25 rushes. I mean, it's unbelievable. This guy.
Should we be rooting for the Bengals to make the playoffs so that Zach Taylor doesn't get fired, so that we get this again next year?
No, they'll do it again. They'll do it again next. They'll. Like, look,
Taylor's gone. You can't trust him.
I love Chase Brown, but this is not going to be their plan next year. They'll get their, I don't know, who's the Zach Moss that comes in it, because
I was trying to think. Yeah, somebody like that. Stevenson. Yeah. I don't know who was that. That's not good.
No, he just signed a contract extension, but it's someone like that.
Madison.
Some 227 pound. Got Sincere McCormick, sure. Yeah, it'll be some 227-pound guy who will come in. Now, I think the funny thing will be is Brown will get the good stuff. It'll be the reverse, where Brown before was getting the bad stuff and score, like having to score on in between the 20s and on rushes, and Moss was getting all the good stuff. It'll be the reverse. they'll sign a guy to be the between the 20s guy and then give Brown which sadly is going to mean Brown is going to be way overdrafted. Brown, you know Chase Brown is? Dameon Pierce. Someone in the chat just said it. They beat me to it. He's Dameon Pierce. Yeah.
I don't think
he is.
I don't think of Sean Siegel for this counterpoint with you over the summer, Davis, but I think of Hayden, and like, wasn't his argument? I'm not, criticizing
his argument
him.
Was
he only runs a straight line?
Yeah.
He had the one play.
He had one good play. Yeah.
And he ran a straight line.
Which was true. Which, by the way,
yeah, right.
Hayden was right. He just didn't have the vision. Look, all due respect to Zach Moss, like truly, as Corinne and I well know, the most replacement level guy in the history of fantasy football. Yeah.
In an FFPC big one, I've got in a virtual tie Bowers against McCormick and London. What are my odds?
Well, I hope they're good because I have Bowers in a 5-5-5. Me and Eric Beimfour are like competing for one of the final 5-5-2 advance out of the pods. It's possible me and Eric both advance, but probably just one of us. I have Bowers. I need a big Bowers. I have Bowers replacing like a 5 from Noah Fant and I forget who else bombed.
London's got to be double-digit targets, right? Though, I mean, doesn't he in this game?
Who, London?
Yeah.
Got
to be.
I think
McCormick.
So,
I don't know, Davis. I'll be listening to your Patreon on this for the showdown. What are you going to do with the Raiders?
Oh, I'm not doing one today because the showdown prize pools are really small.
Okay, never mind.
They're like 10K to first, I think.
On Chase Brown, like he could be Kyron though. That Dameon Pierce was not a total snap dominator. He was a early down hammer guy. He was more like an Eli Mitchell, from when Eli Mitchell got drafted pretty high the following year.
Kyron Williams, but fast.
Kyron Williams, but fast. I mean, that's who he feels like to me. Like he can do everything. He's real low. Like he's low center of gravity. Like he's running at these defensive tackles' knees. It feels like
he really might backdoor it because they're so screwed money wise. They're so fucked.
Right.
They're gonna owe so much money to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And Joe Burrow said, I don't remember if it was at a press conference or on a podcast or something, but he was like, "We got to keep T. We really want to keep T." It's like, what are you gonna do? You gonna tell Joe Burrow, "Here's Jermaine Burton. This guy's out at the casino hanging out instead of showing up to the walkthrough. This is your wide receiver too." I don't know, man. That which could obviously really work out because you don't want to waste draft picks. If you're paying for T. Higgins and Chase and Burrow, and you had the worst defense in the NFL, you spending a 3rd-round pick on a running back? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that I feel like this year is when I look at running backs. So all the running back pricing dropped, obviously, and then that's been partly why it's been such a big year for running backs. But also, like, the running back classes coming in have not been good. Like this one is awesome. This one's awesome, but like, how quickly is someone going to get up to speed? If it's a later round pick, in terms of competing with Brown. I don't know. I'm just like, what veterans are really around that you'd be nervous about? Like, who are they bringing in? Like Gus Edwards or something? Like,
I mean, I knew this list. I knew this list last year, and we're like, who's paying DeAndre Swift? Who's paying Derrick Henry? Who's paying Barkley? And who's paying Jacobs and all these guys? And look what happened. This year, I don't know that list. I don't know if it matters. Those guys got multi-year deals, and they mostly have done really well. Mixon was going to be cut. Then 5 minutes later, he was traded for and extended.
Because the NFL hated last year's draft class. That's what all the agents said. That's what everyone said was, oh, this is a terrible draft class. Let's get in a veteran who we've at least seen at the NFL level. And by the way, they look pretty right.
Yeah.
Who are the good rookie running backs? No one has done anything.
Tyrone
Tracy. Yeah. A wide receiver with like 111 carries in college.
So much of it Davis, you're the one to say this. So much of it is circumstances. Like, couldn't Ray Davis have had a
course.
great season for somebody?
Oh, Bucky.
Right? Just
Bucky's been great.
Bucky. Yeah,
Bucky's
that's
been
right.
great, yeah.
How about him yesterday?
Sincere McCormick is not a rookie. Sincere McCormick is like 27.
He's the Rico Dowdle of this year.
He's the Rico
We're
Dowdle.
like, oh, what a great rookie.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving wasn't supposed to play. Here's 110 yards. Here you go. Enjoy. Not bad.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
good.
Bucky's really good. And to be honest, I it's one of those things where I wish I never knew Bucky Irving's workout stuff, because I loved Bucky in college. Like pre-draft stuff, I liked him. And then he had a 2.4 RAS or something.
Yeah, horrendous RAS, yeah.
Horrendous. And I was
The
like,
thing with RAS is like you can't like triple count like the tails. Like you're like, okay, so he's not athletic. It doesn't like, oh, he's way less athletic than this other unathletic guy. Don't care. It doesn't matter. Like at the same time, like when a guy's like 10, it's like, oh, he's way more athletic than this other 9.8. I don't care. They're both very athletic. That to me is the point of RAS. It's like you're bucketing extremely athletic, fine,
Bad.
not athletic. Like that's what we do. You know, the Kyron taught us this. Bucky taught us this. We have to learn this lesson.
Coming up on Christmas next week, week 16, though, important stuff. Pat and then Davis, what are you guys doing streaming wise this week? I see you guys everywhere.
a lot of playoff best ball. I mean, shit, we got to figure out what to do without Demon in the pool.
Right.
Craig Reynolds,
A lot of playoff best ball.
Rocky.
I think that Gibbs probably becomes the 102. Barkley the 103. Amenar the 104.
What if Gibbs? What if the Lions?
Jefferson.
I mean, if the Lions don't get the 101, is Gibbs? Or if Lions don't get the bot, is Gibbs the 101?
I don't think so because of the quarterback stuff that we talked about. But
Yeah,
running back now became less. Although the thing is, like at running back, you can take Ty Johnson now. I think, like you can feel okay about. Like you could take Kenny Gainwell and Ty Johnson and be like, I'll have a running back. And then you take a Jacobs or someone who's going to play, a few games and make a run, and Aaron Jones.
don't take Aaron Jones. Don't take Aaron Jones.
Because they might get the one.
Vikings are going to get the one.
Yeah. Can we talk about
that's the one has to be the Eagles. It has to be the Eagles.
It doesn't. If the Vikings win out,
But
it's the Vikings.
Washington, Dallas Giants versus at Seattle.
Yes, the Vikings control their own destiny. I looked at it this morning.
But the last game is
like a huge argument on my Discord about it.
The Detroit game is going to be important. They go to Detroit the last week. They're at Seattle first, and then the Packers. The Eagles must have much better odds to get the one with their schedule, and already at best the same record. Like if Minnesota wins tonight, so Philly looks great for the one with Detroit's problems. But I think Jefferson is an interesting, idea in the playoff best ball world.
Man, Vikings getting the one would really shake things up in these playoff best ball content. Like really
won't happen.
Yeah, the Vikings have all the tiebreakers.
It still won't happen.
They have to win every game.
They have to win but so do the Eagles.
And they're all tough. The Eagles
They
games
play
are not
one
tough.
more game than the Eagles do.
Crutches
This week.
says Lions 61%, Eagles 24%, Vikings 15%. That sounds about right to me.
I don't know. Detroit doesn't feel good. At Chicago, at San Fran, then Minnesota. Like they've got a lot of problems. Guys are going down everywhere on that team. They're good, but they went from like this is everybody's Super Bowl darling to like, oh, are they going to be the 5? That didn't take long.
Yeah, I'm with
Right,
you,
boys.
Mike. Can we?
Yeah,
Do we have
go
to
ahead.
go?
Go ahead.
I'm still having fun.
We could Corinne, if you want to do this, I'm about to go stream on my channel.
All right,
We're about to
maybe
go
we'll
to
get to it.
basketball.
Oh, geez, I'm the bad guy. I would stay.
Show's been sweating bullets for 3 minutes.
Shope is like, dude, it's 3 minutes to 44 seconds over.
Oh my god!
Listen, I'm just going to be sad to see you go. Pat Crane, legendary upside. Davis Mattek. Come on. I'll be on tomorrow night, the Deep End with Adam Krautwurst, and then Purple Insider on Wednesdays, plus every weekday afternoon on an Odyssey station, WGR Sports Radio 550 in Buffalo. Thanks for being a part of our show today. We'll see you next week. Happy holidays.